you no heart? Then eventually they realized the smart people were all dead. What do you want to do? I think for now we should just move into the pyramids, then we'll figure it all out. And that's what they did. They just moved in. And then they just started lying about it. After like a couple of generations, who built this? We did? We're the best. We're number one. Egypt. Egypt. Look at that beautiful flat wall. That's craftsmanship, son. I think I will draw stick figures on it. This is a woman. She's carrying fruit upon her head. That's important to document. And this is a man, but he has the head of a dog. And he is evil. Are you sure they made that? They're wrote in stick figures, dude.
I think that's why it's a good time for you right now. Number one, you have new audiences that are discovering you.
Right.
Number two, like we said before, I think that right now is a time for a voice like yours.
Yeah.
And number three, considering now that we hate bullies, when you watch that video now, I'm telling you, Joe Rogan seems like an unnecessary bully.
But he was bullying me.
Yeah.
He was bullying
I know,
me.
totally.
He was talking about me. He was going on the air and talking about me. It was a bully. I just didn't, I never connected. But I will say this, every single week, I have people coming up to me apologizing to me for believing
Wow.
that stuff.
Well, that's huge.
And that's like, that's cool. But, it doesn't take away. It was tough, bro. I mean, there were suicidal moments. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Really?
Oh, hell yeah, man. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I've been told not to say this, but I'm never, ever not authentic. There were times where I contemplated hurting myself, and those times were they were not short-lived.
Right.
They were moments,
Wow.
long moments. Oh, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, dude? You're a comedian. Stop. That's stupid. Oh, my God. You know what I mean?
But where are you at now?
But were they there?
No. Where are you at now? Where are you at now? As far are those thoughts long gone? Especially since you're, like I said, you're seeing new audiences. You're
Right.
touring the country. I'm listening to your material. It's so relevant and it's so hard hitting.
Right.
Are you past that?
I'm very much past that.
Okay.
I'm not in a place where I ever contemplate hurting myself. Going to therapy and doing all that, work for over a decade was really, really helpful for me. I wanted to blow up my life and kind of start over again. And it was hard because, look, people attacked me for a lot of reasons. One of them was my success. One of them was I was very, very much, I was like a horse with blinders. If I went on stage, I went on stage, and I'd bump people, I didn't, it's not that I didn't care. It's that's how I grew up. As a young comic, we got bumped all the time because Robin Williams showed up or Richard Pryor showed up, and we were okay with that. We were like, yeah, that's it. When I got the chance to do it, it was already Gen Xers and millennials, and they didn't understand that. So young comedians would say, well, my spot is at 10. I'm supposed to go on at 10. Why is Carlos going on? And they, the manager's like, because he has a TV show, and, well, why doesn't Carlos call in? And then they didn't understand that the Comedy Store and the clubs told me not to call in because they would say, are you going to come for sure? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, if I'm not tired, I will. But, if I'm out to dinner with my wife and I go, hey, babe, let's go to the Comedy Store. And she goes, no, not today. You do that every weekend, not today. No, I'm not going to show up. And they go, and then we're going to have to refund the money of all the people that we told you're going to come to the show. So if you want to pop in, pop in. But I abused that privilege. That was the hardest thing for me to deal with, to work on, because that's the part that I had to go, okay, I know that all these guys don't hate me because I'm taking their jokes. Because I know if I walked up to them right now and said, what joke did I take from you? They wouldn't have an answer. But they want to hate me because I did something that hurt them in their eyes. And that I did do. I don't apologize for it because it's what was done to me, but I can understand how they felt. And I just came in at the wrong place at the wrong time in a lot of ways. But here's another example. A lot of people thought that my show was replacing Chappelle's show because from the outside looking in, he's going to come back. He doesn't come back. It's January. By March or April, they said, okay, here's Carlos Mencia, who does an ethnic show.
Right.
What they don't know is I was supposed to go on after him. My show was slated to go on after him. I was the happiest dude in the world. Not only did they say, you got a show, you're going on after the most.
I'm sure you've talked about this a million times. Did you ever stop going there for a chunk of time, or you?
I stopped for 7 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I stopped for 7 years after I had that dispute with Carlos Mencia. Yeah, that was when he was way more popular than me. Like, especially as a comic, and the Comedy Store took his side, and I was like, all right, fuck you guys, and I took off. It wasn't really the Comedy Store either. It was this one guy who was the manager. Because Mitzi, actually, I called Mitzi and gave her the whole rundown of what was going on. I told her. And she's like, well, you just stay away from him. And then she gave me a spot that night. And then they called me up 2 hours later to tell me that I was banned. So I said, wait a minute. I just talked to Mitzi. Like, she gave me a spot. She told me when to go up. So if she's not running the store, like, who's deciding I'm banned? You are? Like, what are you doing? Like, do you guys understand what this is? I mean, this is like you're having a little battle for like whether or not you're going to let people profit off of crime. Like, this is really what's happening. You have thought crime. You have intellectual crime. You have plagiarism. And you're allowing one person, you're knowingly allowing them to profit off it. And no one's doing anything about it. So when one of us does something about it, then you're going to punish that person. You're basically highlighting everything that everyone was afraid of.
That's a good point. What was the reason for your being banned? Because you were
because
on their end of it. Like,
because we had made a video with me and Carlos arguing on stage, and then we put it online.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
I
they
kind of
decided
vaguely know
that
about all this.
this was, somehow or another in violation that should have been kept inside the club. And I'm like, you don't get it. You weren't protecting us. No one was protecting us. My fucking agent stumped me.
Over that?
Oh, yeah. Over that. Yeah, I was with Gersh. They dropped me.
Holy
They had called me
shit.
up to tell me, they essentially, in this long roundabout way, were trying to say that I either had to apologize or they couldn't work with me anymore. That was the gist of it. And I had to make them spell it out. Okay, let me say this really clear. You tell me if this is what you're saying. You're saying you want me to apologize or you can't work with me anymore. Well, we're done. There's no apology, and we're never going to work together. I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I was really nice to the guy it wasn't his idea, my agent. So you're a great guy. If I see you, I'm giving you a hug. But you guys have to understand that you're making a choice that's going to affect the rest of your life. This isn't just a small thing. You only have a few. How many years do you have in this life? Well, this year is going to be highlighted by this decision. This is going to be a
And
big.
why did the agent take that stand? Did they represent him as well?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay. All right. So they needed to make nice.
Well,
the whole thing and chose
he
his
made way more
side.
money than me, so he was way more valuable to them, and so I'm like, you got to you sell art. That's all you guys do. Okay, you're not making anything.
Right.
You're just if Mary
We're
Lynn
talking about this, but when the Carlos Mencia video came out,
Oh my
and
God,
the
this
next
is-
day you gave the talk holding a cigarette.
The feud between Carlos and Ari is strange only because of the fact that a couple of years ago, Ari and I had a feud. And I told Carlos about what he had done to me. Carlos didn't hire Ari for a sketch because Carlos is my boy, and he was probably one of the only guys to back me up during that time period. And so just Ari is just mad, He's one of my best friends, and I've never seen him steal a joke. He never stole a joke from me, and
Oh my
I
God.
was like, I'm that guy.
Can I just say this?
I've never identified with anyone more.
I can't believe you just said that.
Dude, 'cause
Video,
the
wow.
thing you did, the way you talked about it, the way you expressed regret, and it was such in the vein that I lived my life. Where
Yeah.
I went, oh my God, dude, I can I tell you, I've pictured where you were in life, meaning like location. I was like, oh, he's in Los Feliz. He's out by his back step. The garbage is right by that door. Like, I visualized that
Oh
place.
my God. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
Because that video plagued me.
for real.
Yeah, because this is how that happened. So Joe puts out that montage video of Mencia stealing and whatnot, and I was in the video.
I visualized how it happened to you. Can I tell you what I thought happened first?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, okay.
I thought you walked up to the store. You're like, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah.
Someone's like, Bobby, you got a cigarette? You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna smoke one too. And you lit a cigarette, and someone's like, and then everyone starts walking out, and you're sitting there by the wall, and they're like, Bobby, what do you think about Carlos Mencia? And you just jokingly went, you mean Ned? Not knowing what had happened.
Yeah.
And then just walked away. And then all of a sudden the video comes out and Carlos called you and was like, bro, what the fuck? Oh, he steals. Of course he steals.
Very similar to that.
I envisioned that so much because I was like,
his whole life was consumed.
because you were a little bit of the nail in the coffin in the storytelling. You and Renazizi were a little bit of like the this is.
Oh my god!
So wait, tell me how it really happened.
This is what happened. Okay. Who that is that? I don't know who that is.
That's Ned Holness.
Oh, Ned, I know Ned Holness. Yeah, he's really good. Hey, that's all that stuff.
That's good.
Hey, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ned.
Do a couple minutes of his material.
Well, I'll just do some of my material, and then it'll be the same. So I'm at the Comedy Store, and Brian Redban at the time wasn't Brian Redban of today. Brian Redban was Joe Rogan's guy, his video autographer, his podcast guy, everything. And Brian Redban would always have a camera just on, right? And so I'm walking at night, like I always do, and somebody asked me, "What about Mencia stealing?" I don't see the camera.
Was this the same night that this whole thing went down? Or?
No, it was a collage of a bunch of different nights.
Oh, so it was a different night,
right? So he and I said, I didn't know there was a camera there, and they said, "But Mencia stealing?" I go, "Yeah, he steals or whatever, you know." Then I noticed the thing, and then I go to Brian. I go, "Don't put that out there." And Brian goes, "No, I mean Joe makes the final decision, but we're probably not." It is, right? So here's the fucked part.
By the way, you got to give a shout out to Brian Redman for shooting content a week earlier, then shooting this, and then realizing I got Bobby Lee saying that he steals. That's a good producer's mind. Like that's a really great. Like
it's crafty. Yeah.
That's Brian Redban's a gangster. He should. I wish he just started a production company where he made vlogs for comics because he's so good at. He's so good in so many like he's great at comedy, but his artistic arm is really in branding, in like making content. He's so talented.
He could have had an empire though. I mean, he could have.
Don't get me started about that because
he could have been like All Things Comedy.
I think you're right.
You guys, what you guys are doing with us, also we're involved, is that you guys are creating a company that can last, and that can eventually produce things and get into the mainstream. And
well, we need one of us to. I don't want to lose train of this story.
Yeah,
we need one of us who's big to decide not to go on Netflix and release their special on All Things Comedy's platform, and that will not happen. I won't do it. I definitely won't do it.
I'm not the one.
I'm not the one. I'm already.
But if all of you guys did it, you, Bill Burr, Ari, you know, Tom,
maybe.
Yeah, I've never done a special. I would do it on that.
How come you aren't doing specials?
I just don't. We'll talk about that in the next.
All right, go back to the
anyway. Let's go back to the thing.
Yeah.
So that video comes out. Now I can do one or two things: call Mencia and apologize profusely, or avoid him, right? And I couldn't do the second option because Mad TV was attached to the Mind of Mencia. We shared the same studio.
Really?
On Hollywood Center Studios. So the stage, whatever, are connected, right? So I'm sitting in my dressing room, and I get a knock on the door.
Oh wait, you shot that at Hollywood Center Studios?
Yes.
Of course you did.
Yes.
Of course you fucking did.
And it was
my first TV show shot there.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Now you can see the steps and
I see the steps and the back wall and the railing.
Yeah.
Of course you fucking did.
Yeah. And then it wasn't Ned. It was his cousins and his brothers. Hey, bro, the video's out, bro. I go, yeah. I didn't do it. You know, I'm a coward. I'm a coward, right?
It wasn't me.
Yeah, me too.
I said not to put it on, and then they put it out. Right, like in that way. Well, you gotta do a rebuttal, bro. I go, but I don't want to. You have to, dude. Ned wants it. So Carlos comes. They put me on those stairs.
Wait, did you call him when you talked to him? Did you call him Carlos or Ned in life?
Ned.
In life?
Oh yeah, always.
Really?
Yeah. He started. He discovered me.
Really?
Yeah. Mencia without Mencia, I wouldn't have an agent or anything. I opened for him for 7 years.
It's so funny. I just met him at Ralphie's memorial.
Oh wow.
We had through Cowhead we had talked. Me and Cow was like, oh, he might come to the show, and I was like, oh, cool. Like I don't have any problem with him.
Yeah.
I've never had any beef with him. I mean, obviously I know the backstory of him, but like I've never experienced it firsthand.
It's a complex story, but my experiences with Ned were of a boss employee, and when I was in 1997, when I didn't have a car, he goes, bro, come over to my house. I have a present for you. He bought me a car. I mean, that's the kind of relationship I had with him.
He also took you home with him to Honduras?
Yeah, he took me to Honduras to visit where his homeland is and his family. Yeah, and I lived in a village for a month. So my ties with him were really deep.
Oh, wow.
And so when that video came out, it was hurtful to me because I feel like I betrayed a friend. Mm-hmm. But what I said, was that true? Yes.
Yeah.
So now I'm caught in a thing.
Oh, dude.
So then
you're explaining me and the Jay Moore show.
Yeah.
That's me and Jay.
Yeah. So then he goes, come on, do a video. And I was like, I have to. So that's why when you see it, I'm like, it was pensive and whatnot. But when that came out, if you read the comments when they came out,
I saw them.
It was brutal.
Yeah, I know. I saw.
Yeah.
So I definitely. You think I was a young comic?
Yeah.
You don't think I came out?
Like, you're done in comedy, you rat, you piece of shit. I mean, it went. I mean, not
There's
just 5 or 10. I'm talking thousands.
There's a weird thing, but in between.
Says he wants to give the truck he was given as the Super Bowl MVP. They gave him a truck. He wants to give it to the guy who won the Super Bowl for the Patriots. I think it's very nice. Yeah, I think that's nice. I do. Yeah. So Brady's giving his truck to Seahawks coach Pete Carroll.
The day before, Robert Alex Caseberg tweeted this joke. The same thing happened again.
Yesterday, surveyors announced that the Washington Monument is 10 inches shorter than what's been recorded. Yeah, of course, the monument's blaming the shrinkage on the cold weather. It's a penis joke.
And again.
Some cities that have streets named after Bruce Jenner are trying to change the streets' names to Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah. Yeah, and if you live on Bruce Jenner cul-de-sac, it will now be called a no-sac.
The coincidence in timing was enough for Caseberg to sue O'Brien and Time Warner, which owns HBO, for joke theft, alleging damages of at least $600,000. The case is still open and could go to trial soon. Caseberg denied our interview request, and O'Brien's team maintains they wrote the bits. Comedian Patton Oswalt is an expert witness for the defense in the case, and he can't address it directly, but he explained the challenge of claiming ownership over a joke.
You've accidentally stolen a joke.
When I was starting off, I was still an open micer in DC, and I was terrible. I said, if you want to make sure that you can sit alone on the bus when you're in your seat and someone says, hey, is this seat taken? And you go, oh no, no one's sitting there except the Lord. And then they'll leave you alone. Now that's a Carol Leifer joke. It's a great joke. And that came off, and my friend Blaine Capatch said, hey dude, and he wasn't even being mean. He was like, that's a Carol Leifer joke, dude. I don't think you realize you did it. And I was like, and then I realized, oh my God, it was. I'd seen her do it on, one of these 9,000 stand-up shows that were on TV at the time. But it's a difference between the people that every now and then you accidentally throw a line out there and go, oh geez, that's not mine. Or the people that they throw a line out there and it gets laughed and they go, meh, fine, let it pass. I'm getting money.
How do you claim ownership over a joke?
People that have been doing comedy, even for a year, understand without it having to be spelled out on an algorithm what ownership of a joke means. We understand who came up with the idea, who ran with it. I guess it is hard to understand for some people that comedians come up with jokes from nothing. There's no books, there are no spreadsheets of ideas, there's no workbook we can fill out to get a joke. We create jokes from nothing. Right.
With a comedian, why is it that as an audience, if somebody steals a joke, and even if it's blatant and there's evidence, I think most people think, it's so funny.
The idea of a mass audience not caring where the joke comes from or who wrote it is still, that's sort of a hangover from the 80s comedy scene of the generic brick wall comedy shows where people went out not to see specific comedians, they went out to see comedy.
Period.
Period.
It sounds like there's a line somewhere for you, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
gray.
if you're a comedian, you know when something's been stolen, when something is not right, when clearly someone is doing something that is just not theirs.
Does comedy need a landmark lawsuit case in order to stop joke stealing? Does that need to happen for comedy?
I don't think that there's going to be some kind of landmark case, for lack of a better term, that will ever completely stop joke stealing, but it will. I think the best that can happen immediately is the environment for a joke stealer could just be very, very unpleasant.
Hello, everybody. As you can tell, we're in a studio apartment. I guess that's what you would call it. Now, this little apartment is located directly in the hood. Now, when I say the hood, I'm talking about Don't Be a Menace to South Central type of hood. There's a shooting every night. Something's always happening. If you just look out the window, you'll become either a Blood or a Crip. Just how it works in this neighborhood. If I look out the window right now, I'll see a crackhead for some reason carrying a cheeseburger. So my advice to everybody is stay away. I haven't left this apartment in 4 years. I need company. I need to socialize with somebody. I'm starting to talk to my little Funko Pops. You know? Wonder Woman is one of my best friends. We get along well. I got Dwight Schrute. I don't like him. He thinks he's the shit. But anyway, a little bit about me. I'm from Bosnia. One of my earliest memories, and this is true. This really happened, and it sort of still haunts me to this day. So Bosnia, if you guys don't know, was under siege by the Sarajevo army. They wanted a portion of Bosnia, and Bosnia wasn't trying to give it up. So we were in war. Now Sarajevo, they were way more equipped than we were. We were using World War I weapons, you know, the muskets where you gotta like jack them off just to let them load off. So, you know, we were outnumbered, outmatched, all that. So one day I remember, you know, shooting is going on and somebody runs in the house and they tell us, hey, they're coming for everybody, women, men, and children. That's what they did. They would slaughter everybody, or they would rape the woman, all that. I know that's not funny, but that's what happened. So I remember my mom picked me up and she's running down the hill. It was a big, big hill, and down the hill were our grandparents' house. We're running down the hill, and one of my shoes fell off. Now, there's bullets whizzing all around us. My stupid mother goes back to get the shoe. Now, first and foremost, I didn't like this shoe. This shoe fell off because I took it off. I didn't want the shoe anymore. But she went back and got it. Now, when we finally got to our grandmother's house, it was the most awkward silence that you can imagine. Because I was upset. She put our life in danger because of a shoe that had holes in it. The shoe looked like it's been shot. And ever since then, I haven't spoke to my mother. No, I'm just kidding. I still speak with her. You know, in Bosnia, it's the culture is very different. Unfortunately, the men are allowed to beat women. They just, it's no big deal. Call the cops. Oh, he beat me, yada, yada, yada. And the cops would be like, well, what did you do wrong? The man is always right. So when we finally moved to America, my father still had that mentality. And he would beat my mother, which I was not cool with. And I remember I got older. I was maybe 12, 13 years old. And I told him, I was like, listen, if you touch my mother one more time, I'm going to get a knife and I'm going to kill you in your sleep. And ever since then, he's never touched her. Now, at that time, he did quit drinking, and I think that was the major problem as to why he hit my mom. But he's never touched her ever since then. And a couple of years passed by. And I turned 16, 17, and my mom is getting on my fucking nerves. And I start thinking, God, I wish my dad would start drinking again. This woman needs to be taught a lesson.